Tal Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Nazir Daf 29A1. Says the Gemara, if you remember, we asked the question, why is it that the man can make his son into a Nazir and not a woman? Says, this is Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Hanina, and then Rabbi Shakish, in order to do chinuch. So the Gemara asks, if so, even a woman could do chinuch. Why is it only the father could do chinuch and not the mother? So the Gemara answers, so the father is the one that's obligated in chinuch and not the mother. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan Damar, I understand according to Rabbi Yochanan that he says Hechal ben Nazir, which means that it's going to be Hechal Moshe Sinai. So therefore we said, why? The father does it, right? Beno'in bitolo. So then it's only the son, but not the daughter. But according to Resh Lakish, that it's talking about chinuch, so afilu bito. If you're obligated to educate your child, so you're also obligated to educate your daughter. So you could also make your daughter into a Nazira, not only your son into a Nazir. So says the Gemara, Kasava beno chayav l'chocho, bito eno chayav l'chocho. He says, no. According to the Shakish, you're obligated to educate your son. You're not obligated to educate your daughter. So says the Gemara, Bishman Rabbi Yochanan Damar Hechal ben Nazir. And according to Rabbi Yochanan, he says Hechal Moshe Sinai is by Nazir. Ahache ben Nazirut in. That's why only by Nazir does it work, but by Nedarim it does not. Meaning he could only make his son into a Nazir, but he could not make a neder for his son. Let's say his son is fooling around, so he comes and he makes a neder. My son, I just make a neder on you, and it's chal on you. You cannot drink anything. I saw that you were going to Kiddushim and you start, drinking. No, make a neder onto you. It doesn't work. It's only Hechal Moshe Sinai. Hechal Moshe Sinai is only by Nazir, not by Nedarim. But according to the Shakish, it's all to do with education. So if you know Nedarim Navi, so therefore you could also make a neder for your son. You could make a neder that your son cannot come and not drink alcohol or whatever it is, or all these things, right?
Meat,
drugs, right? Whatever it is. So the Gemara says, Lo mi baye kama. He comes and he says, no. Lo mi baye benedarim de lenivul. Right? We're not talking about buying nedarim. Yeah? So he comes and he says, not only talking about right now in nedarim that there's no nivul exactly. What does it mean that there's no nivul? Right? At the end of the day, by neder, right? It's not like he's, he's not suffering or whatever it is. But even in nizirut ila nivul afilu achi chayv lenchocho. By nizirut, you're suffering. What does it mean by you're suffering? At the end of the day, when we're talking about now nizirut, right? You have nivul. Right? You understand what's going on? Meaning that at the end of the day, by Nazir, you're suffering. Right? You have to come. He's a sur b'yayin. They come and they take, you understand? Right? So says the Gemara, Bishman Rabbi Yochanan Damar Hechal ben Nazir. I understand that according to Rabbi Yochanan, that he says the halacha is like that by a Nazir. Hainu diktani, that's what we learned. Micha or shemichu kirovav. That's what I understand, that he made the micha, or his family members made the rebuke. That means they were the ones that they renounced it. They didn't want it. But according to Rabbi Hanina and Shakish, can they do such a thing? What, the Krovim are saying that we don't want them to do mitzvot? Meaning like this, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's Hechal Moshe Sinai. If it's Hechal Moshe Sinai, you can't ask really questions. Why? It comes from Moshe Rabbeinu, Gamarnu, and Shelot. You understand? Al Abba, lo sholim Shelot. Yeah, you can. There's no questions. Okay. So now the question is, what's going to happen now if you're going to say it's education? So if you're going to tell me it's like Resh Lakish, which is education, so the father wants to educate his child. He comes and he says, my child, right, my dear son, you're going to become a Nazir. Why? You're going to taste what it is. No wine for 30 days. You can't become into memetim. You can't do shtuyot. You have to be very, very careful. And then afterwards, come, zoom, korbanot, everything. So now, if that's the case, how could they come and they could start taking, we don't want them to do mitzvot. I'm educating the mitzvot. Who are you to come and tell me that I can't educate my son? That's the Gemara's question. So answers the Gemara, Kasavar Reshakish holds, Kol chinuch de la chashiv, lo nechale. He says, any chinuch that the family members are not happy with, so therefore it's not good for the mitchanech. Which means, if right now he's going to be embarrassed because of the family members, so the Chachamim do not want to institute such a chinuch, because then what's going to happen is that the child will go against it. But the second, it's not going to work. So you need the family members to come and to be happy with it.
How young do you have to be? So how old?
A minor. No,
but
can
you start before 13?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. A minor. He could only do it before 13. He cannot do it if it's over.
Then what's the
Rabbi Yochanan Damar, according to it's good according to Rabbi Yochanan that he said Halacha ibn Azid, Mishum haki megaleach ve'avida kafa. Right? That's why you're going to do megaleach and you're doing a kafat harosh. We know that you're not allowed to take off your peot. Part of that's called a kafat harosh. A kafat harosh is you're not allowed to come and take off your peot. So a person has to be very careful. And by the way, you should know it's very, very, a lot of people, they don't even know these halachot. So they come and they put their sideburns up to here. It's above the bone. Forget about Sfaradim. Even Ashkenazim hold that it's a problem. You understand? But according to Sfaradim, it goes lower down, right? But even according to Ashkenazim, it's a problem, and they do it, and they don't realize, right, the avirah that they're doing. Yeah. So what happens? I understand if it's halakha Moshe Sinai, that's why you completely take off all the hair. You're taking off the piyot, but you're allowed to. Why? Because that's the halakha. But he says, according to Rabbi Yosef I don't understand you. You're trying to educate a child. And how are you educating him? Do an avirah. How do you do an avirah? Take off all the pills. What's going on here? That's called chinuch. I understand. I can't ask questions. So you have to come. You do tiklachat. What is tiklachat? You come and you shave off all the hair. So okay, you shave off all the hair. You're taking off the pill. Okay, but it's halakha Moshe Sinai. I can't do anything about it. I don't have it. I cannot ask questions. Okay, chazak baruch. But if you're going to tell me that the entire concept is of education, how am I educating? I'm educating, and now I'm going to tell you to do an avirah. By the way, you should know, don't take off your piyot. Well, Daddy, last month you just came and you just shaved off everything. What do you mean don't take off your piyot? No. So it's a little bit difficult. So he comes and he says, Kasava rakafat kol harosh midrabanan, right? V'chinuch midrabanan. V'ati chinuch drabanan v'dachi akafat drabanan, which means like this. He wants to come and he wants to say like this. Mina Torah, when it says, Lo takifu peat roshechem, which means you're not allowed to take off your peyot, we're talking about you're only taking off the peyot. Meaning, if you come and you trimmed, right? The majority, when you take a haircut, it's a trim. It's not really a haircut, right? You're not shaving everything off. You're just coming and trimming. And now what you do is that you're going to take off the peyot. You were just transgressing the isur doraita. Of what? Lo takifu peat roshechem. But what happens if a person comes and he takes off everything? Hakafat kol harosh. Complete shaving, right? There's some people that they do that. They come, you have here bald completely, but they take off the piyot, right? So now, in such a case, according to this shita, Resh Lakish, it's only the Rabbanan. It's not Doraita. Why is it only the Rabbanan? Because they're taking off everything. Lo takifu b'ot roshechem means the piyot are so important. Don't leave your hair and then you take off the piyot. But if you took off everything, so now maybe there's not the same lo takivu b'at roshechem doraita, so it's only the Rabbanan. Says Resh Lakish, since lo takivu b'at roshechem is the Rabbanan, because you're only taking off, because you're taking off all the hair, and chinuch is the Rabbanan, so therefore the Rabbanan of chinuch is going to push away the Rabbanan of lo takivu b'at roshechem. Okay, one second. What?
So,
says the Gemara. Yeah, he comes and he says like this. Yeah, Bishuma Rabbi Yochanan, right? By the way, this is also only if we're going in the shita of Resh Lakish, because if you pass like Rabbi Yochanan, then everything of this falls anyway. Bishuma Rabbi Yochanan, it's good according to Rabbi Yochanan that he says Halakha ibn Nazir. That's why he's going to come. He's going to cut off all his hair and he's going to bring a korban. But according to Resh Lakish, Kedei lechancho b'mitzvot hakamaiti chulin la'azara. I don't understand you. Chinuch is a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. To bring chulin la'azara is doraita, which means I cannot bring an animal to the azara for no reason. I can bring it as a nedava, a present, but I can't bring it for no reason. So now, if I come and I'm going to say, okay, what am I doing? I'm educating my son. So, okay, chazak baruch, education, most important thing. All of a sudden, at the end of the education, we come and we bring a korban. But it's not a korban nedava, it's a korban of Nazir. But if he wasn't a Nazir Doraita, you're bringing chulin la'azara. You're bringing something mundane, chulin la'azara, to the azara, right, of the Bet HaMikdash. You can't do that. So how do you do that? If you tell me it's halakha Moshe Sinai, okay, it's halakha Moshe Sinai again. No questions asked. It comes from halakha Kabbalah, from Moshe Rabbeinu. That's it. Very good. Here we're not talking about that. So he says, Kasav chulin la'azara lav Doraita. According to Shtat Resh Lakish, he holds the chulin in the azara is not going to be Doraita. Bishum Rabbi Yochanan Daman Halakha ibn Nazir. It's good according to Rabbi Yochanan that he says Halakha al Moshe Sinai is ben Nazir. Achi ki mitameh. So therefore, when he's going to become mitameh, he's going to bring korban tziponin ve'achil kohen milika, and then the kohen will come and he'll eat right with the milika. But according to Rabbi Yochanan and Resh Lakish, that it's going to be the Rabbanan and it's education. He's eating a nevela. If you take a bird, you always have to do shechita. The only time when you're allowed to do milika is for a korban. When you have a korban of birds, you do milika. Milika is the shechita, but with the nail. Okay? Now, but if you're going to do that, let's say I come and I say, you know what, I want to eat a bird. Right? So he says, okay, but Rabbi, I don't have a knife. Don't worry about it. Yeah? It's called a nevela. I'm not allowed to. It's only in the Bet HaMikdash that melika helps. It does not help anywhere else. Meaning I cannot eat a bird because you did melika. So he comes and he says, how does the Kohen do melika if it's only chinuch d'Rabbanan? If you tell me it's halachal Moshe Sinai, makes sense. The Kohen could come, the son became tameh, he has to bring a korban, the birds, they come, they cut off the heads of the birds, and now the Kohen could eat it. But here in this case, how does the Kohen eat it? It's melika, it's nevela. So it says, according to Shita to Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, you don't need shchita at all by a bird. It's like fish. Do you have to do shchita by a fish? Did you ever see shchita by a fish? No, you've never seen it. Yeah? You don't have to do it. Yeah? So he comes and he says, however, though the shchita, he comes and he says here, by a bird is the same thing. And shchita minof in the Torah. The chulim bazara lav doraita. Fine. So it says now the Gemara, V'sav Rabbi Yehuda, Achi, does Rabbi Yehuda actually say that there's no shchita min Torah by off, and also the chulim bazara is not doraita? But Tanya, we learned in the Braita, Rabbi Yosef Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda says, how do we know the chatat ha'of comes even on a safek? Which means if you have a doubt whether you have to bring a chatat ha'of, you're allowed to bring it, right? But here it's not going to be eaten. That means one more time. Here's the chidush, but usually a chatat has to be for sure you sinned, right? There's usually on a safek you don't bring a chatat. You bring an asham talui. If you made a sin by act and you're not sure if yes or no, so it's talui. Talui means it's depending. I don't know if you did it or not. But here you don't bring a chatat in safek. Here by a bird you could bring a shchitat safek. You could bring a chatat misafek, but you don't eat it. Because if you're going to eat it, it's going to be a problem. Just like the zachar mevi korban avadai, just like the zachar only brings the korban when it's for sure. So to nekeva, she's only going to bring a korban if it's going to be for sure. Just like the zachar could bring on the safek, nekeva mevi ala safek. So to the nekeva also is going to bring ala safek. Zachar means shu mevi ala avadai mevi ala safek. Just like with the zachar, the same species that he's bringing on avadai, he's going to bring on the safek. So to nekeva, the same species that she's going to bring on avadai, she's going to bring on the safek, the exact same thing. So ima zachar mevi korban v'nechal. 1 second, but the zachar, when he brings a korban, it's eaten. So to nekeva, she should bring the korban, and it should be eaten. Amarta, you said kaftet amubet 29b. Lo, you're not going to say that. Why? Im amarta bezachar sheken isur echad tomar benekeva. Which means it is by the zachar, by a male, when he brings his korban misafek, which is going to be an asham talui, there's only one isur, right? That means the isur is only one isur. Maybe bemet he wasn't obligated to bring the korban, and he's bringing chulin la'azara, and therefore you're not allowed to eat it. But since it's a safek, so you're going to be permitted to eat it min Torah. By the nekeva that she's going to bring a chatat ha'of, there's two isurim, right? Number one, right, the bringing of the chulin, and number two also, the fact of what? Melika. So because of that, since it's going to be two isurim, you cannot eat it. So one more time. A zachar that has a safek, there's only one isur. He's bringing an asham talui, and the only isur is maybe he's bringing chulin la'azara. Because he's bringing something mingdein to the azara, but it was a safek. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't do it. So therefore, since there's only one isur, they're allowed to eat it. To do with the nekeva, the female, there's two isurim. What are the two isurim? Chulin la'azara, just like with the male. And number two, the melika aspect. Since you have the melika aspect, right, which is going to be again the entire concept that maybe bemet you're doing melika and you're not. So therefore, because of that, he comes and he says there's two isurim, so it's not going to be eaten. Says the Gemara, ma'ishne isurim. What are the two isurim? Lavli isu nevela v'chulim. You got nevela, you're saying you did melika, and you have chulim bazara. Okay, so therefore, because of that, that's what's going to be the two different isurim. So you see from here that according to Shitat Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, he does hold of these two isurim. So he comes and he says that according to him, then he does hold of these two isurim according to Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda. Fine. So now Rav Acha is going to push it off. Matkif la Rav Acha bered Ravika, ask Rav Acha bered Ravika, v'dilma michayev alem mishum dimitche ze ketrin isurim d'Rabbanan. Says no. Maybe it looks like it's going to be two isurim d'Rabbanan. You're eating the chatat ha'of, which is coming on a safek, so it looks like two isurim. What are the two isurim? Which is the Rabbanan. Because shchita la'of is the Rabbanan, and Yisur chulim bazara the Rabbanan. And since you put two Rabbanans together, that's why it's going to be a sur. But not because it's doraita. Meaning, I'm not going to hold that it's because it's two doraitas, two Rabbanans. But two Rabbanans, I don't want you to be over there on Yisurim Rabbanans. So because of that, they came and said, just donate it. So says the Gemara, you know what? You're right. Why don't we just say it's machlok tanaim? What's a machlok tanaim exactly? Ad matay madir beno benazir. Right, there's a question that David has to listen to. Until when can a person come and make his son into a nazir? Says the Gemara, until he has 2 pubic hairs. Okay? Divre Rabbi. These are the words of Rabbi. No, this could be even before bar mitzvah. Right? The second he has 2 pubic hairs, right? He's going to have it. Rabbi Yehuda says, Ad sheyagia leonat nedarim, until he gets to the ona of nedarim, which this is going to be 12 years old. Okay, the 12 years old, right, is there's no neder. And from 13 onwards, then he's already a gadol. Okay, so it means basically until the 12, right? Because remember, 2 pubic hairs you could already get from 11, right? It all depends on the body. So that's why he comes and he says there's going to be from the first one was 2 pubic hairs, the Shita Rabbi. The second one is Ad sheyagia leonat nedarim, which is going to be 12.
Same thing.
So
Olat nedarim can be much earlier depending on the kid.
No, Olat nedarim is always minimum 12 onwards. The pubic hairs depends on the body. Okay. My love, are we not talking about Tanaihi, that this is actually Machlok Tanaim? The Rabbi Sabra Lacha ben Nazir, the Rabbi hold that it's Hechal Moshe ben Sinai ben Nazir, and Rafal Gav, and even though they get on Nadarim, Madile Vazile Maitesh Tetzarot, he can continue going until the 2 pubic hairs. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi holds that it's until the Onat Nedarim, that he's the one that holds Kedei Lechanechom Mitzvot, that it's going to be Chinuch Mitzvot, that Kevin and Afik Meshuteh, once he's out of his Reshut, Tulu Mechayev, so therefore there's not going to be a Chiyuv. So it comes out that we're going to actually say that this is a machloke between that Rabbi holds like Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda holds like Resh Lakish. Just make it a machloke Tanaim. So the Gemara says, no. Amri, we said, lo. Everyone could hold that it's Hechal Moshe ben Sinai ben Nazir. The Hechal here, b'mufla samuch leish kami palged. There's a machloket to do with the concept of mufla samuch leish. What does that mean? Right, but since it says ki afli lindor, it's that when you're almost at the age of making the nedarim. Rabbi holds mufla samuch leish is only a din d'Rabbanan, but mina Torah his neder is not a neder. So therefore, when the father comes and he makes the nezirut, we're going to say that the nezirut of the doraita, which is Hechal Moshe ben Sinai, is going to push off the nedarim, the concept of mufla samuch leish, which is only d'Rabbanan. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda holds mufla samuch leish is also doraita. So for since mina Torah he's already a gadol to do nedarim, he's already out of the reshut of the father. So for the father does not have the koach anymore to make him into a nazir. Because if he could make a neder, the father could not make him into a nazir. Remember, nazirut is a form of a neder. So if the child is already able to make a neder, the father cannot make him into a neder. The father cannot make him into anything. So therefore, what's mufle samuch leish? He's almost a man. So therefore, by a boy, it's going to be the 12, and by a girl, it's going to be, right, the 11. So he says, so that's the first shita, that according to everybody, we hold like Rabbi Yochanan, that Hechal Moshe ben Sinai, but the machlok between them is mufle samuch leish. According to the second answer, if you want, you can answer another answer. The Chule Alma, everybody holds really like Resh Lakish. What does it mean like Resh Lakish? Kedei lechancho b'mitzvot, in order to do chinuch mitzvot. Umufle samuch leish d'Rabbanani. And mufle samuch leish is ad Rabbanan. Rabbi comes and he says, Hati chinuch d'Rabbanan v'dachi mufla samuch leish d'Rabbanan. So if you have Rabbanan. So if there's one Rabbanan, is going to push off another Rabbanan. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda holds ad sheyagia leonat nedarim, until it's going to come to another nedarim, because somebody holds lo ati chinuch d'Rabbanan v'dachi mufla samuch leish. We're not going to have a chinuch d'Rabbanan, and it's going to be doche mufle samuch leish. So says the Gemara, limani kanai. Why don't we just say that these Tanaim are the same as other Tanaim? Right? The Tanaim was learned to the Braita. This is Tosefta Nida. Maaser Rabbi Chanina shedid Ravi ben Nazir. Right? What happened was there was a story that Rabbi Chanina came and he made his father into a Nazir. That means his father made him into a Nazir when he was younger. He brought him in front of Rabbi Gamliel. So Rabbi Gamliel did a check. He checked, does he have 2 pubic hairs or not? Yeah. So therefore, oim lo evi, right? Because that's what you have to check. I still remember until today there was a rabbi that he wanted to do hatarat nedarim. So we were bachurim, we were 14, right, in the yeshiva, 13 and a half, 14 in the yeshiva. So all of a sudden he's taking us to do hatarat nedarim, and he goes to us, by the way, you guys all shave, no? So we all answered him, yeah, you shave. Oh, okay, fine, okay, let's go. So we're like,
Shave.
do we shave? Do we shave or not?
Do you shave 13?
Huh?
Do you shave in the age of 13?
Yeah, 13, 14, you start aging, you start shaving.
לא ככה.
Yeah, you start shaving. Yeah, you start shaving. So he went and we asked him. We went and we asked him, Rabbi, what does it matter? So he comes and he says, listen, I have to make sure that you guys are men, right? And men means you have to have 2 pubic hairs. I don't want to take you to the mikveh. So if you tell me that you're already shaving, so that's it. I know you have hair. That's what he told us. Because if you have hair down below, you have hair up above. So therefore, the concept was, if you guys shave, that means you guys have have hair, so therefore there's no problem. Yeah? Fine, let's go. Okay? So he comes and he says like this. Yeah, he comes and he says like this. Yeah. Okay, let's go. So he comes down and he says like this. Yeah. So he says, Amalo. So he comes and he says, Yet Rabbi Yosef Omer, Leida im igia lonat nedarim ulav. He wanted to find out did he already get to the onat nedarim or not. So Amalo, so he told him, Rabbi, don't be upset to check me. Im katan ani, yeh bishvil abba. Im gadol ani, yeh bishvil atzmi. He comes and he says, you know what? You don't have to check me. You know why? If I'm considered a katan, so then my father was the one that did it for me. And if I'm not a katan and I'm already considered a gadol, so then I'm doing it for myself. Then mimanashach, you don't have to check me. Yeah? To pubic hair.
Huh?
Puberty. You know what puberty is? Let's go. Amalo, he told them, why? If I'm a katan, I'm doing it for my father. My father did it for me. And if I'm a gadol, I'm doing it for myself. Comes Gamliel, he kissed him on his head. Why? He says, I know that this child is already going to be Moreh Alachai. He wasn't even 13. He says, this guy is going to be this is Rabbi Gamliel. Right? Amru, it was a very short time afterwards. He was already Moreh Rabbi Yisrael. Okay? Which one? Rabbi Chanina. Okay, so Bishma, it's good according to Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yudada, Manache, Gelona Nedarim, Hainu de Kamar, and therefore he comes and he says, Im Katanani, Yabishvil Abba, Im Gadolani, Yabishvil Atzmi. But according to Rabbi that he says that Yavishte Sarot, Vim Gadolani, Yabishvil Atzmi, he says, how does that work? Right? Hello, it doesn't work. Habishute Davokai. He says it's going to be in the reshut of his father. So therefore he comes and he says, right, that the father could still come and make the Nazirut. So because of that, he comes and he says, how do you make it? So he says, no, I'm going to be for my father, or I'm going to be for my tzmi, which means for me itself. I will do it for my father's sake, or I'll do it for my own sake. We continue tomorrow.